Let's play some guitar.
Yeah.
Hey, we always like to start with a little bit of music. I hope that sounded okay. That was something in G minor. Everyone, today Jimmy and I have decided to talk about ear training and developing musical ears. It is one of the 7 key skills in the G4 method, and also, a top key skill. If Jimmy, if you were going to, if we say let's go with the 7 key skills as they are in the G4 method, where do you put ear training on the list of importance?
Probably second.
Interesting.
Second, very, very close to the top. Maybe first.
What would you
But
put first?
I probably something theory. No. Chords and rhythm.
Chords.
As
Yeah.
a unit, chords and rhythm, those two together, and then ear training. Those are like my top couple. But just to let you know, we have Gemma watching. Hey, Gemma. And we also have Ruben with us too. So hey, Ruben.
Ruben, hello.
Yeah, where is ear training on your list?
I'd probably go the same. Yeah, definitely top 3. And we'll get into the reasons why, but I think chords and rhythm being top is close to my heart because of um, I've ear training and having a musical ear is always something I've really struggled with, and I just thought I'm no good at this. Kind of coming back to what we were talking about last week. So I just avoided it. I avoided developing it, trying it. I hid away from situations where I would have to use my ear. Um, I was just, for me, it was knowing some chords and then knowing a couple of scales to do solos with. But I wasn't really listening to what I was doing. I just had little shapes and things that I played, and that's how I did things for a long time. Um, but developing an ear and working on this has really helped me out with developed dramatically the last few years. What do you think are the benefits of having a good musical ear, Jimmy?
Well, personally, I think music obviously is something that we hear and we listen to, and actually being able to understand what's going on around us is one of the most important things. And people that play and don't listen to what they're playing, don't hear how it sounds in context of something else. Yeah, there's a very big thing. I guess the more music kind of stuff I do kind of falls within, I guess, jazz, and everything's about listening because everything changes all the time, and you need to kind of hear how things sound over each other. So it's very, very important for me personally. I don't, I don't know. Again, came up through the punk scene where ear training was not important, but if you really want to connect with other musicians, you really need to listen to what's going on, whether it be the rhythms that are happening around you, so you can gel in with them, or whether it's the chords or the harmony or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that resonates with me as well about the kind of the punk scene as well, because of all I've ever really wanted to do is write music and perform the music that I've written. So that's another thing where I was like, I'm not that fussed about me not being good at this thing. But since I've started developing my ear, my composition has got better because of if I have an idea now, um, I I more instinctively know how to find that on the guitar. I've had a couple of moments, not maybe over the last year or so, where well, this was one. I had a piece I was working on where I had this kind of like picky thing, and I really like it. So it goes on loads of times, and then I was listening to the rehearsal recordings of that, and then stopped it at a certain point every time, and then stopped it, and then kind of sang what I wanted to happen. And then once I'd sung it, I was like ba 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 ba. Instantly, I just straight away went to where it is on the guitar, and just having that kind of freedom, because I've had it in the past where I've had an idea, and then I've gone to work out that idea on the guitar, and over making so many mistakes to get there, I actually kind of forget a little bit what the idea was in the first place as well. So that's yeah, that's the importance for me, really. That is definitely the most important thing. I would like to be able to improvise more than I can, um, but that's a mixture of other practices as well.
Yeah.
But ear training is going to be a massive part of it.
Yeah, there's in the punk scene as well. If even if you train your ear, not necessarily to listen to melodies and or anything like that or harmony, you train your ears to listen to rhythm. Uh,
Mm,
Here, if there's any of the bass students on here, they hear me bang on about this all the time. Is what I call the hit points of
mm,
the rhythm. So if anything, where the kick and the snare falls, and you can really use that because that is the drive of the song. And if you understand what is going on, you can complement that in a way rather than a kind of fight against it. And there's a really, really common saying amongst musicians where they're like, "That's tight. That sounds tight." No one knows what it means, but it's like that's tight. It's very together. And if you've got your ear trained, you can hear those hit points, and you can play along something that kind of gels with what's happening.
mm,
Sounds tight.
mm.
Yeah, I guess that's the foundation of groove and things like that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't really think about that because of that. I think through developing my ear more or working on it more the last few years, I have become more analytical, where I can listen to music and really, really pinpoint things that I do and don't like. And again, the biggest thing coming back to the music I make is over the last year or so, I've listened back to my old recordings and realized what's so wrong with them. And a big part of that's the timing. And before, I never noticed. I used to listen back and go like, yeah, yeah. For some reason, this thing I made doesn't sound as good as the bands I like and listen to. But still, no, we sound good and I'm playing well. And now, over the last couple of years, when I listen back, it's like, whoa, there's some real red flags here, and it's really to do with the timing. And I was the biggest culprit of pushing everything forward as well. And yeah, so yeah, lots and lots and lots of good reasons um, for ear training. Do we have? I suppose, unless you got anything more to say on that, Jimmy. Anything else before we go on to the how?
I mean, I have a few exercises that I do in my own practice based on what you've just said. I
Hmm.
realize this is for everyone, but it would be very useful. We could chat about now, maybe later, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, let's go into it. Yeah, so the kind of so we've agreed that it's important, but
It's
now
important.
how do we go about getting better at doing this? So yeah, Jimmy, what's your favorite
So,
ways?
because obviously, if we look at ear training exercising, especially in like apps and books and things, it's always learn your intervals, do this, do this, do this, and there's a very nice jazz kind of way of doing it. I learned this from Kenny Burrell video, who's a old school jazz player,
Hmm.
and his method to kind of really connect in. So this should hopefully help you with your improvisation, Mike. Is if you play a chord, so any chord, just wherever your hand lands, just play a chord. It's like, cool, that's my chord. And he was like, someone can either hum, whistle, or sing. Yeah, some people are like, I can't sing, but I can whistle, or I can't whistle, but I can hum. And form a melody line. So I don't know, do just keep tuning your chords and get really kind of connected with how your sounds kind of work around. Obviously, it helps if you know some scales, but because they kind of set what notes are available to play. But even if you don't, if you can hear something, if you can
Mm.
figure out where the notes are around it, give it a try.
Absolutely, I love that. That's really, really brilliant, and that's kind of what I was going to say as well. And this comes back to singing as well. Everyone has to be singing for sure. At home, just by yourself is fine, and just humming. Everyone's happy to hum, but I think a big thing that's helped me out with my ear is kind of playing some notes or the arpeggios and actually singing some, playing the guitar first and then humming those notes and then playing them along as well. Because there's something, for me, there's something where if I physically feel the vibration for that pitch, then I've got a much deeper relationship to actually kind of what I'm hearing in my head and what I'm playing as well. Because of when I say everyone must sing, I don't mean that everyone must be a singer and must perform and must sing for other people. I just mean sing for yourself because of when you're improvising, uh, you have to you want to be hitting the melodies that you're imagining in your mind. You don't want your parts to be driven by physically what the shape is on the guitar. You don't want that to lead you. You want to be led by your ideas. There's I was watching an interview with someone recently, and I don't know what great jazz artist they were talking to, but they said, "Oh, when you improvise, do you hear the melody first, like ba 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 ba?" And he was like, "No, I hear it like ba 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 ba." It's like it's so strong in the mind, and then because of that, the jazz players have come from that is how they work. That's how they work, and then through training, then you naturally it just comes out.
It's just connecting what you hear in your head to the fretboard, basically.
Mm, mm.
Anything you play, and see if you can pick that. I don't know why I went.
Hmm.
And it's just connecting ideas, and it's a really, really useful thing. Before we, scare any of our listeners. Oh my days!
It's
Hello.
Bertie.
Oh, oh, you are like a Bond villain in the best way. But
Yes, he's trouble.
yeah, how can he be trouble? Look at him. Now, before we shun any of our, it's good save by the way with the dog. Oh, they're getting a bit jazzy here. They're getting a bit, to be honest, the main reason that I really, really rate ear training now is that I don't basically look up tabs really anymore. I listen to something and I know how to play it, and it's very, very, very useful. And just
Yeah.
trusting your ear, and because sometimes if a new song's come out, there won't be a tab for it, and like kind of sitting down and trying to work out the chords can be really, really tricky. But the more you do it, the easier it gets, and just try to get little melody lines and things is really, really useful as well. But that's
Yeah.
kind of the reason that I would recommend it. So I think I was doing this with one of our bass students, trying to figure out a bass line to an originals band, and obviously there's no tabs or anything like that. And if you're joining a band and you need to put parts to something and they send you a
Hmm.
recording, how else are you going to do that other than really listen and just make sure and you know put things together like that? It's really, really valuable.
Well, absolutely, and that's one of those ways, like you said, it gets easier. That is another how we do develop our ear is by intentionally going and figuring out how to play other people's songs using our ear. Um, yeah, and that's been a big one for me. And when it comes to creative work as well, I get loads of ideas when I am working out other people's music. It's kind of like a bit of I start playing something, maybe I get it wrong a little bit, and I go, oh, but that sounds really cool what I just played, and I did so badly at trying to play it that it's completely, no one would give me for copyright because it sounds nothing like it. kind of thing.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Um,
there was that little phase where I just worked out all your band songs.
I think that phase was probably about 20 minutes, and you just figured them all out.
Hey, hey, worth it, worth it.
But when it comes to the how on that, this is so. There's a few things where um, our topics from G4 have bled back into other topics and things we're talking about because of, I think, in terms of humming or whistling, there's many ways you could do that, and a really great way for me is humming arpeggios of chords, major chords, minor chords. But when it comes to working out songs, because this was a big thing for me, was when I bought guitar magazines and I read all the interviews of my favorite guitar players, and and all of them said, "Oh, I learned guitar by putting on records and figuring it out at home." And I was always like, "Well, how am I supposed to do that? Because there's so many frets, and there's so many frets, and there's so many strings that I don't know where to begin." But if you know your C major scale, for example, if a song's in C major, then you've got like 8 notes there to pick from instead of what seems like hundreds, and then you can start working out that way. So knowing scales has really helped me in this process as well. Knowing scales, and also more advanced is knowing keys and what chords go in which keys, because once you know all the chords in the F major scale are, it's always a good guess for working out chords. Go to one of the chords that are in the key, because 9 times out of 10 it is. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think we have a slightly different approach there, but
No.
so mine's not within a key. Mine's figuring out the numbers of a chord, and then a 4 chord to a 1 chord will always have the same resolve kind of sound. So if I hear something like, yeah, that kind of chord resolve, I'm used to that sound. I know it's a 4 chord going to a 1 chord. I might not know what key it is, but then I can just pick it up and just like 4 to 1. Did that work? No, let's try it somewhere else,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just do it until it makes sense. And so for me, it's easier to work out the type of chord rather than the actual key that it's in first,
Yeah.
because otherwise I'm dealing with way too many letters and I get scared.
No, I'm totally with that though. Absolutely, absolutely knowing this, and this gets on to, because there's many, many, many ways we can train our ears. One of my favourite that I've done over the last year is an app called Functional Ear Trainer, and Functional Ear Trainer, what it does, if Bertie will let me, what it does is we take if we're in the key of C, for example. if we're in the key of C, it just has it numbers them from 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's no theory here, and they just get you used to the sound of they play some chords. And then just play one of the notes and ask you if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. And after a while, you really begin to understand not what the notes are, but what relationship this note has in the greater context of the
Any
key.
guesses to our watchers what note that was? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8?
I'll do it again. We'll come back to that, huh? We'll see if anyone gives us an answer. uh, Yes, I really like that one, because I think that's kind of related to what you're talking about, knowing the sound of that change from the relationship the 4 chord has compared to the 1 chord in a key. Has anyone given us an answer? Because I'll talk about this a little bit more before we move on to another one.
I can't see anything.
Cool. So, well, maybe we could do some of this at the end, but we the way it describes it in the on the app, because it gives you kind of a lowdown when you run it up, is that the 1 note and the 8 note in the key are both the root. That's both C and C major, and they feel totally at home. If I play the chords, play these notes, it feels like we're just at home. We don't need to go anywhere. But the 2 note, the 3 note, and the 4 note want to pull. You get this feeling that they want to pull back to the 1. It's like almost on a hill, and it's like going out of balance and wants to go back. And the 5, 6, and 7 want to go up to the 8. You feel it pulling you home.
There we go, nice.
Yeah, so
yeah, so we've got says Rick's here. Hey Rick.
Hi Rick.
He's written 1451. That is the chord progression, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, Rick's great at these things. Yeah, so that's the functional ear trainer. It's done me a lot of good because of, I don't know, I think a different way of looking at it, because of I did the interval thing for a long time, which was very, very useful, but it was it just started, I don't know, I started disliking the app I had for that. I don't know why.
Shame were you on there?
I can't remember now. I'd have to have a look at it. Cool, but Jimmy, do you have any favorite apps or anything like that for this?
I use Perfect Ear a few times.
Maybe that was it. That rings a bell. I'm looking now.
Again, there's a lot of the interval stuff on there. So guys, a lot of my issue with the interval stuff comes from naming intervals. It's there's a few different names for the same thing, and it can be a bit. But for me, understanding the difference between 2 different notes and the distance really. So instead of it's a major third, or I would call it a third, and I'd say that's a flat third rather than a minor third, and a fourth or a perfect fourth. But understanding the difference, if you're trying to work something out, like it's like cool. What's that hop in that first one? Cool, it's a major 7th. As soon as if you recognize that sound, it's much easier, and you can do it very, very quickly. So that for me is one. And because I often try and combine as many different exercises as possible. So I like your idea where you sing out the notes, for example, and you try and match them. So another thing that I do like that is when I'm playing a scale, not only will I try and match them with my voice, I will also say the names of the notes, so I'm learning the fretboard as I do it. But it's kind of that sort of bringing it all together, and then again, not always just naming the fretboard, but naming the intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and just getting really comfortable. So I always know that is a 7. That's a 6, 3, 4, and I can match it with my voice, and I've already said the interval, so I know exactly where it is. And so those kind of things really, really help me out when I'm doing these. But to be honest, if anyone wanted some exercises to do, probably recommend some songs with simple melody lines, and just see if we can just sit and work out. If you can match the melody with your voice. I don't know if you've got any songs at the top of your head, Mike. But, simple.
Yeah. Sorry, I usually go for just very simple, like kind of Twinkle Twinkle and Star Wars theme tune and Frere Jacques and a few melodies that people really know.
Yeah, things like that. Christmas carols are great, so memorable. That Silent Night. Oh, where's it? Yeah. I don't know what key I'm doing it in, but and you can just sit and figure it out, and then once you figure out the melody note, you can even figure out chords. So and you can kind of have a lot of fun with that, but you're just developing your ear to listen and kind of really train for things.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think what you're talking about with the names as well, I think that's the thing that is a bit off-putting for a lot of people, because I feel like that in lessons, like this is so important, and actually it's really fun as a thing to do, I always really enjoy doing it. It's so fun and it's so important and useful. But and then I start saying, oh, this one's a major third and this one's the dominant seventh and these kind of things, and I feel instantly that everyone's just like kind of glazed over, like it's because if it does, it does make sense, but it's very, very, very complicated. The names of these intervals.
The names are very, very scary.
Yeah.
So I try and simplify things if I can,
Mm.
and so I normally work within just numbers, and then if it's flat or sharp, a major scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it had a minor third, it'd be 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Just because it's slightly easier to process rather than, we're not classical musicians, at least I don't think we are. um, Classically trained, but not a classical musician. And it terminology can really complicate things sometimes, and you're listening. It's not about the name basically. But another thing that I've often used to kind of help students is kind of reference points. So if there's a certain interval, an octave, a major seventh or a third, is there a song, a very, common song that, shares that people can kind of hum instantly, When the Saints Go Marching In, that's a third, right? A major third. So this is the first thing. An octave, so going from the one to the next. So if I'm in A, the next A would be the octave. It's the same note, but also the same as A. Something like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Just having these reference points, I think, is really, really, really useful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, let me think about if I know all mine. The second would be Happy Birthday for me. What's yours? Happy birthday.
That's an interesting one. That's a very interesting one. Happy Birthday doesn't start on the one.
Well, but I'm just talking about the interval.
In terms of the interval, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the intervals. Yeah. The nice relationship to the key. Yeah. The fourth. What do you use for a fourth? I struggle with the fourth, picking out a lot of time.
I don't actually have one for the fourth. Maybe When the Saints, because it's the second up.
No, that's good actually.
That's kind of two in one.
I think Amazing Grace is. Does that work? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full. Good. Amazing Grace. Cool.
How about the fifth? What's your go-to for the fifth? Would you go through these now? We started.
I don't know. I have a sharp 4-1.
Oh, what's the sharp for?
This is sorry guys, it's getting a bit technical now. The sharp 4 bin instead of fourth is The Simpsons.
Okay, cool. Very nice.
I don't know if I've got one for the fifth. Again, I don't use these ones anymore, but I used to do, and they helped me. But now I've forgotten my reference.
I still think about them. Yeah,
you got a fifth one. What's your fifth?
The Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. All right, so to review, second is Happy Birthday, we've said, although it starts on the fifth. Third, When the Saints Go Marching In. Fourth, Amazing Grace. A fifth, Star Wars.
6. I don't know if I got one for 6.
I don't know. I love the sound of a 6 in it of all.
Yeah, me too. It might be the beginning of My Way. The first two notes of My Way. No.
So we'll come back to
maybe.
6. If anyone's got anything, could work, let us know. Yeah.
And the major seven, I don't have one, so. But major seven for me is the most identifiable interval because I feel that pull towards the. This is the number seven in our scale. I feel that pull that it just needs to go up one fret so much. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually been really, really sneaky here by not, by basically just Googling interval reference points. So just to recap some of these ones. So a minor second, so that way it's just one fret apart, so flat two. It's Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah. Happy birthday, they've said for major second. Minor third, they've said green sleeves.
Oh. Mm.
Yeah, that works. When the Saints go marching in for third, we were right with that. Perfect fourth, Here Comes the Bride. I'm a long way off that one, guys, so, you know, does work, does work.
Yeah, that's good. That.
Perfect fifth, they've said Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Why did we not think of that? Star Wars or Twinkle Twinkle?
Obviously.
Absolutely. Minor sixth, The Entertainer. Major sixth, NBC. That's not good. I don't know what that is.
It's not good
Minor,
if we don't know it.
yeah, we don't know that. Major seventh, Take Me On. Aha. See what I did there? Is it? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But again, it's all about the distances. But using these tools, such as using songs to help us kind of identify them, is a very, very, very useful one. But again, it's all about application and why bother? Because you can work things out really, really quickly. If you want to play with other people, you can just gel better, and you create that sense of groove and that sense of togetherness, and it makes things a lot easier. Often, not with G4 because I've been teaching this method for a while, but with some of my private students, oh, can you teach me this? And they'll pull it straight on me. I'm like, oh man, that's like a degree level piece. That's not easy. And ear training kicks in. I'm like, cool, just quickly listen to this. Okay, cool, here we go. And it's saved my bacon a lot. But it is so useful. Just it's music is sound, so we do need to use our ears. Basically, is my takeaway from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like once we get into it, it helps us feel and understand and have a deeper connection with the music as well.
Absolutely.
Really, really, really. And a big thing for me is this and rhythm are the things that I've struggled with the most. And uh, most people, I don't think, are good at this the first few times they do it. So if you start this and you go, wow, this is really hard and I'm not getting it, just stick with it because of it will come, and it will come quicker than you think it will. But there might be a first few times when you go to do it where you feel like I don't get this at all and I'm totally off, and that's absolutely fine. Just stick with it, I'd
Yeah.
say.
I think, is it Functional Ear Trainer or Perfect Ear? One of them has a rhythm section where it plays you a metronome, and you've got it sets the time, and then you've got to keep tapping and making sure and see how long you can keep it going for to build your own internal clock.
Brilliant.
That's a really cool one. And then it'll play you certain rhythms, and you've got to tap the rhythm back, and it's a really kind of great one because you have to listen, and then you've just got to repeat it back. And any form of rhythm repetition is really, really useful. So
Yes.
again, I can't recommend it enough.
Good stuff. Nice one, Jimmy. Well, I think we'll finish up there. Any thoughts or anything?
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, we're still here. We're still on.
Cool.
I don't think so. I think everything's going to be fine. Keep practicing and just really listen. That's
Listen.
Listen. Yeah, listen. Listen to what you're playing, listen to what's going on around you,
Listen to what
um,
I'm saying.
listen to what Mike's saying. Yeah. And yeah, just yeah, it's a great kind of journey to start. 'Cause it will only have positive effects on your playing. So the more you do, the easier it gets, and it will be a bit tricky to start off with. But we will probably go through and post some of the apps we recommended. So there was Functional Ear Trainer, Perfect Ear. I'm sure I've got a bunch of books on ear training. There's one by Musicians Institute Press, um, and a few others knocking about, which I can put some links to in the comments. But yeah, there's so many tools out there.
Yeah, there's plenty out there. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jimmy.
no
Thanks.
problem.
Thanks everyone who's watching this right now. I hope you're all well, and we'll see you sometime soon.
Excellent. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and we'll see you soon.